Okay, so the beginning of the edging of the Ventura Highway shawl starts on the right side. I'm working on a little swatch here, but you would have your whole shawl finished up to this point, all of your repeats done, your color A and color B sections. And now we're at the part of the pattern that says edging, and it says at the beginning of the next right side row to cast on 6 stitches using the cable cast on. And the cable cast on is where you're going to go in between the first and the second stitch here with my right hand needle. So I'm going in between those 2 stitches. You yarn around, you pull it through, and you put that newly made stitch on your left hand needle. So that was 1. Now I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go in between the first and the second stitch, so that new stitch we just made and that one there. So we're going to go in between those 2, yarn around, pull it through, oops, pull it through and put that stitch on. And now we've made 2. And I'm going to cast on 4 more. 3, 4, oops, 5, and 6. And the next row says to knit 5 to start with. So I'm going to knit these first 5 stitches, just regular knit stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it says to slip 1 knitwise. So you go in like a knit stitch, you slide it off. Then it says to knit 2 together. So we're going to do that, knit 2 together. And then we're going to pass the slip stitch over. So we're going to reach in front here, grab that stitch, slip it up and over that knit 2 together. And we've just finished that next row. And now we're going to begin the edging repeat. So we're going to turn our work around. And row 1 is on the right side, which is where we are. Our yarn's in front. We're going to slip the first stitch purlwise. And then we're going to knit 2 together. So we have to bring our yarn to the back. We're going to knit 2 together. If I could get in those stitches because they're a little tight. Knit, come on, there we go. Knit 2 together. We're going to yarn over. We're going to knit 2. Then it says yarn over twice. So yarn over once, yarn over twice. We've wrapped our yarn twice around the needle there. And then we're going to knit 1. And that's the end of row 1. Now we're going to turn our work around. We're on row 2 on the right side. And it says to knit 2. So we're going to knit 1. We're going to knit 2. And that's the first of those 2 yarn overs. And then it says to knit the second yarn over through the back loop. So I'm going to go through the back of this second yarn over. And I'm going to knit it. And then it says to knit 2 together. So we're going to knit 2 together. We're going to yarn over. We're going to knit 2. 1, 2. And then we're going to do that slip 1 knitwise. Knit 2 together. Pass the slip stitch over. And that's the end of row 2. Now we're going to turn the work around again, and we're on row 3 on the wrong side. Slip 1 purlwise. Then it says to knit 2 together. So we moved our yarn to the back. We're gonna knit 2 together. We're gonna yarn over, and then it says to knit 5. And that'll take us to the end of the row. There's 3, 4, 5. Turn our work around. Row 4 starts on the right side, and it starts with bind off 2 stitches. So to bind off, we're going to knit the first 2 so that we have a pair of stitches. We're going to loop the first one up and over, and then we've bound off 1 stitch. So we need to knit a second stitch, loop that one up and over, and now we've bound off 2. And then it says knit 2 together. So if I could get in these stitches, it helps if you have a point to your needle, but this is what we're working with. Knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2, 1, 2, slip 1 knitwise, knit 2 together, pass the slip stitch over, and that's the end of row 4. So we've done 4 rows of our edging chart so far, and you can see that we're sort of knitting these rows perpendicular, not parallel, perpendicular to these stitches that we've just finished here. So our edging is going to start working across this way on top of those stitches on our left hand needle. And I'm going to do more repeats all the way to the end so you can see the lace pattern forming, and I will be right back. Okay, so I've just repeated my edging repeat a few more times, and you can see it starting to form. The pattern says to repeat the last 4 rows until 1 stitch remains on your left hand needle after row 2. So I've just finished row 2. I've got 1 stitch here on my left hand needle, and then it says to work row 3 as written. So we're going to turn our work around and work row 3, which starts with slip 1 purlwise, and then we're going to knit 2 together. Get in there, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it says next row, bind off 2. 1, knit another one, oops, 2. Then it says knit 2 together. Oops, I'm having a real hard time with these knit 2 togethers. Knit 2 together. There we go. Yarn over, knit 2, 1, 2, slip 1 knitwise, knit 1. There's only 1 stitch left. We're going to knit it. We're going to pass the slip stitch over. Then the next row says to bind off the remaining 6 stitches. So we've got 6 stitches left. We're just going to bind them off like normal, all the way across the row. And this will take us to the very end of our shawl. Once we've bound off these 6 stitches, it will be completed. So here's our last one. And now you would trim your yarn, pull it through this last stitch, and that is the edging completed on your shawl. Now you're ready to block it and to wear it.